everybody, Tony D with a hot take on the Virginia protest for the Second Amendment. Nothing happened. So it looks like a bunch of protesters came out and peacefully assembled, and more than half of them were armed, and there was something like 25,000 people, and they say something like 15,000 people had guns. There wasn't one single incident. So go figure. They were worried Antifa would show up and cause trouble. Some of the newspaper, I think it was from NBC, they called the protesters racist, and people all over Twitter were calling them racist, and nothing happened. And not only were they not racist, there were plenty of people of color were there, and they support the Second Amendment, as well they should. Because that would go a long way to equaling the balance of power between cops and people of color in the inner city. I certainly advocate for that. I think it would be a safer Chicago, a safer New York, a safer Philadelphia if the gun laws were mostly relaxed and you didn't try to control guns just because you're scoring political points. But try to tell that to anybody on the news today. I mean, the rudest thing that happened was somebody was shouting obscenities to the MSNBC guys. But it was a peaceful protest. Thank God. I was a little worried something would break out, and you'd see this governor who seems pretty determined to get rid of guns, come on TV and say, oh, it's a national tragedy. This is why we have to get rid of guns. And thankfully, nothing like that happened. So just goes to prove that, in this world, if you have law-abiding people, there are more law-abiding people than there are criminals in the world. So if everybody has a gun, then most people will use it responsibly. Yes, there will be a handful of people who are very irresponsible and do stupid things and get hurt. And, we have to work on those people and make sure they don't do that. But you can't live in a perfect, safe world. So I don't know about you, but if I'm trapped and somebody starts shooting up the place, I want to have a way to defend myself. I'm not getting any younger. I can walk out the door and get mugged by 3 or 4 teenagers could take me down. I'm 53 years old. I'm out of shape. They have any weapons at all, I am screwed. But if I have a piece on me, at least I got a chance. At least there's a deterrent there. You wave that around. Hopefully the muggers run away and you're relatively safe and you can defend yourself. If you got an elderly relative, an elderly relative, they should be armed if they're functional. I don't mean you should arm every shaky 82-year-old, but I'm saying if they're of sound mind and body and can handle themselves to drive a car, certainly they should be allowed to carry at least a .22 or something in case somebody tries to mess with them. Because you look at that guy who took out the church shooter in Texas. Yeah, he was pretty up there. He's gray, at least as gray as me. He's probably at least my age or older. I think he was 64, and he took out a guy who could have killed everybody in that church. And so keep in mind when you see a lot of stuff about guns on the local news or national news even, you're really hearing it from the side of the Democrats. And most Democrats and liberals, they want gun control, and that I think that's an unfair advantage they use in the media with regard to guns. And ultimately it's hurt them. And rather than look at a place like Chicago, which has some of the strictest gun control laws in the country, and say, maybe this isn't working, they go, no, we need to do this to the whole country. And I think it would be a disaster. I think it would turn the country into a shooting gallery. And I think people should have the right to defend themselves, defend their homes and their persons, and and I think seeing that all these people marching and zero incidents with all those guns, you're talking tens of thousands of guns, that's pretty impressive. That is proof positive that most law-abiding people are perfectly responsible with guns. So I don't know how you feel about guns, but you could leave a thing in the comments. But think about that. Think about that for a moment and say to yourself, well, if people are just ready to shoot each other the moment they lift up the gun laws, why did so many people, why were all these strangers able to assemble with no problems? I mean, no one got shot. Something to think about. All right, I'm Tony D. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Please check out my books, Wokeistan, a Novel, and The Pineys at Amazon.